After having some time playing on the new recent patch, obviously everyone is wondering what formations, what custom tactics, all of that sort of jazz, what is the best way to go. So we're going to talk to you today about kind of the setups that you want to run on new gen and old gen as a conversation as well, and just kind of how you want to approach your custom tactics. Now, the big thing obviously with the new changes is essentially 71 depth and the automatic press, the automatic overload ball side. Just the congestion in the middle of the park really isn't there as much, meaning it's a little bit more free flowing in the middle. So I think what a lot of people have now been struggling with is that they're finding it a little bit harder to defend because players are able to get into the attacking third more often because they're not losing the ball as much in the middle. And then obviously the defensive scenarios of just trying to step in and tackle someone that's good with the ball at their feet can be a little bit difficult. So talking about 71 depth, is there a pro to still running it? Yes, there is. Now, you won't get that big automatic AI press as much. It is still kind of there, but it's just nowhere near to the level it used to be. The reason why 71 depth is super good is that basically when you go from 70 to 71, you get an automatic offside trap. The automatic offside trap is used because people run direct passing. And if people run direct passing, what it essentially does is it pushes your defensive line deep into your 18-yard box. And some players really don't want that. They want to try and keep a bit of a higher line. So 71 depth still has that pro for that. Obviously, the cons to it now, though, is that you are running a higher line and you've got less chance of winning the ball in the middle of the park. So what is the solution if you're a little bit kind of unsure? I personally think running right now for a lot of players, 50 to 60 depth is good. It gives you that kind of high line. And then if you want to avoid that, obviously automatic, if you want to have that automatic offside trap, then you can still run 71. But I think kind of running in and around 60, 50 to 60 is fine. If you're on old gen though, the game is different in a sense. It's basically FIFA 21, but with new players is kind of how I explain it. And that game was so much more free flowing. So I think actually running a lower depth on old gen, 40 to 45 is kind of, pretty neutral. When it comes to defensive width, it almost doesn't really matter as much because the width now defensively is kind of back to what it should be. You're not congesting over on one side of the pitch as much, which means that the switch ball isn't as easy. Overall, your defensive width is just a lot better in the shape. So I leave mine on 50 to have that nice and balanced. Build up play, for me, I'm still running balanced direct passing. Another good alternative is long ball. Long ball is if you are looking to hit on the counter and be really quick to break away. This can be super good if you do match a 5 or 3 at the back. The reason for that is because of the nerfs to the 5 and 3 at the back, where basically their wing backs don't get back anywhere near as quick. If you run long ball, you really look to counter quickly and isolate up against their 3 centre backs. If you ever play against that, you can switch to that. But for me, balance kind of gives me the best of everything. I trigger runners myself by using L1 and LB to get players to go. And when you do that, it just means that it's just a lot more comfortable for you to kind of build up on there. Direct passing, though, as I said, pushes that opponent's defense kind of back to give you more room in between the defense and the midfield. And that's where then I can look to drive into the 18-yard box. I can look for travellas, finesse shots, drive the byline, whatever it may be. You can also look, if you want, for forward runs that can be a bit more aggressive. For me personally, I prefer direct passing. So in my 4-3-2-1, if I was to run that, how would I want this? I'd have a very neutral width. That's not a problem to just have the 4-3-2-1 like that. 6 players in box and then kind of 50 width and 55 depth or 60 depth. That's kind of where I would run the 4-3-2-1 right now. How do I then run it? I'm very different than most players, probably, in the sense that I run big strikers. I specifically run a big striker at right forward to basically play up against Batcher, Karachui, whoever it may be, the small fullback, because most people are running those sort of fullbacks, and it just means I can look for the headers. Now, the power headers have been nerfed. They are nowhere near as good as they were. You really do need a person with aerial plus or just silver aerial at least. But the power header has been nerfed, which is a little bit sad in terms of the play style. So I run getting behind, stay forward on the striker and the right forward. The left forward is then come back on defense. That makes that player go into a 4-4-2. And then run the left centre mid on cover centre, stay back while attacking cover centre on Frankie de Jong, and then cover wing on the right centre mid. Frankie de Jong and De Bruyne will switch positions during the game. That is normal. And then I run my left back on join the attack to look for the back post crosses over to Giroud, and then I have my right back on stay back while attacking. So that's my 4-3-2-1 that we touched on from a few weeks ago. And then this is the 4-4-2. This is the other formation that I'm running at the minute post patch. 44 defensive widths, 50 depth, balanced direct passing, 60 width, 5 players in box, 1 corners and 1 free kick. So as you can see, still very, very neutral, a little bit lower on that depth, not running as high of a line. Basically trying to make 2 banks of 4. This is the 4-4-2 second variation, by the way, where I have the two DMs instead of the 2 CMs. And the formation for this, the instructions, sorry, I run stay forward on Haaland and stay forward on Giroud, but I have getting behind on Haaland. The way I kind of use this is to trigger and look for Haaland on that run, maybe play into Giroud, back to De Bruyne, and then like an over-the-top through ball into Haaland. That works well for me. The left mid and right mid, I have them on stay wide and come short. I did originally have them on getting behind. I just found it super difficult for them to get in behind, really, to find that pass. I think as well, yes, there isn't as much of that AI press, but I don't want my wingers being so far away from me, so them coming short works a treat. And then for our left DM and right DM, both of them on cut passing lanes, cut and cover center. I don't have them on stay back while attacking because it really doesn't give you like anything on the edge of the box. You know, it means then you're basically just attacking with the 4 players. So I liked them to lurk, to look for a long range shot, a Travella and so on. And then the left back and right back are also on stay back while attacking. So a very kind of a neutral setup there. I still run the 4-2-4. I don't change this, to be honest. This is if I am losing 3-0, 70th minute. I need goals. It's super aggressive. It drains stamina like mad. It is just to put that big press onto them. Stay forward, getting behind on the wingers, stay forward, getting behind, and aggressive interceptions as well. That makes it, you know, even more aggressive. And then stay forward on both of these strikers. Your centre mids are on cover centre, and then your left back and right back are on step up and balance. So as I said, that is only if you are very aggressive. Now I was testing out the 4-3-3 full time. I'm not a massive fan of that myself personally, not been working too great, but a formation that I think can work really well. I played it few weeks ago. My team at the minute doesn't really kind of set it up, so it isn't going to be something I can run with this particular team, but it's worth talking about with the kind of the new patch is the 4-2-3-1. This is a formation that I think can work really well now because you're just going to have so much more time on the ball with your centre mids to lay out your right attacking mid and left attacking mid. Just works a little bit of a treat. It does operate a little bit differently this year than what it did in previous years. The way the right attacking mid and the left attacking mid set up is very different, and it does play differently, but it is worth noting. I'm not going to give you tactics for that because one thing that I kind of wanted to then go into touch on is I get this a lot in our streams. People come over, what's the best tactic right now? What's the best formation right now? What should I be running? Something that I think is really worth talking about is you playing formations that you are comfortable with and that you want to play. All right. So if you see a new patch come out and you're like, oh, I don't want to play it, you know, the 4-3-2-1, what's new? What else can I try? The 4-3-2-1 is still very good. The 4-4-2 is still very good. 4-2-3-1 is still very good. You can still run a 5-back or 3-back. Yes, they've been nerfed a little bit, but they're still very effective. You mastering a formation that you like, if you've played 500 games in one formation, that is going to be so much better than you moving over to a formation that you played 10 times. You're going to be so much more comfortable and have that muscle memory with a formation you've put a load of games into. So just kind of remember that. Like, you don't always have to keep switching things up and going onto my videos and other videos to kind of go, oh, what's the new tactics, blah, blah, blah. Things don't change that drastically. And if it does, you kind of know about it. So if you were playing the 4-4-2 before, you can carry on running that. You might alter the depth a little bit if you're not happy with how kind of the press is, then that's it. But you don't have to make these massive kind of overhauls, all right? So that's worth kind of taking note of as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.